Hello everyone!
Welcome to our YouTube channel,
Slay in Science! I'm Shomi
and I'm Dhanvi.
and we are here to slay in science.
Yes. So, Shomi, tell me, what are we going to do in this channel?
So, in this channel, we are going to give you a sneak peek into what happens inside the research laboratories. We're going to bring the scientific world to you. We're going to break down scientific journals, all these publications, and the wonderful amount of progress that scientists are making across the world and breaking barriers. So, we really want to bring them and break them down, simplify the concept, and relate them to everyday sciences, you know. And
Yes.
another thing I would really be interested to do is also interview scientists, real life scientists who are making all these amazing discoveries. We want to interview scientists from different levels of their scientific journeys, group leaders who are leading experiments and studies, postdoctorals, fellows who are spearheading projects, PhD students who are figuring out so many things, and master students, bachelor students, people who are just beginning their academic journey. So, just to give you an entire picture and a snapshot of what goes on behind the scenes of research laboratories and the big academia.
That's amazing.
Yeah, that is amazing, right? And like, it is really fun to be in science.
Absolutely. I completely agree with you, especially because it is not as accessible as we think that it is to the common people. Because we're just scientists are so busy in the everyday world that we don't tell people, oh, what are we doing, and sometimes it becomes so hard to explain what are we actually doing. But just to give a bigger picture, it'll be very good idea to bring that to the world.
I completely agree. It is super relevant and it's super duper important about communicating the kind of work that you're doing because it kinds of add value. And it's so important to talk about the lives of the people who are doing science. For example, Dhanvi, you. I really want you to talk to us about your journey and your transition to academia. And I know being an international student and starting out your career is not as easy. So why don't you talk to us about your journey and why you are interested to do science?
Absolutely. So, it's a very funny story that how I actually got interested into science. When I was a kid, I was always interested in studying human biology, how human body works, because it's so interesting. It's a whole different world inside its own. One day I was watching this movie called Jurassic World, and in that, do you remember they do certain kind of
Yes.
experiments and make genetically engineered dinosaurs? And then I decided that, oh, when I grow up, I'm just gonna make genetic designer babies with like different qualities, babies that have blue eyes, certain shape of nose. But okay, that's unethical. I'm not doing that at this point. So then I decided to pursue the degree of genetics after coming to Australia, because coming from a complete different background and adjusting to the education system here initially was quite difficult, but eventually I learned the way. And the most important thing that I enjoyed actually was the bachelor's here was mostly self-educating. So at that time I read a lot of journal articles and stuff like that. And I also came to know, okay, these journal articles are quite hard to read, and it'll be a great idea if we sort of break it down and bring it to the normal audience, because not everyone is free to read those big journal articles and what are people doing in their own research, how are they discovering different type of drugs, how are they carrying out their research and stuff like that. But yeah, you're also an international student. Tell us about your journey. How has it been?
Yeah, I it hasn't been an easy one. So, I did most of my education in India and I was even working as a research assistant. And I always knew I wanted to do a PhD, right? Because I wanted to be in academia, I wanted to do research, wanted to be part of all these fantastic discoveries. So, the education system in India is really, really very different from the kind of education system here in Australia and in other parts of the world. And so I really worked hard to build my profile. I worked on publications, I worked on gaining skills in the laboratories and, like bioinformatician skills that can make me competitive. And then I applied to so many PhD programs, and it was really important to me to get into a PhD program that excites me. So I wanted to work in genomics, and now I am doing so much transcriptomics, and it really fascinates me. So I can't imagine working on something that does not excite me. So that was like a priority for me. and I am super glad, and also had to work hard really to kind of get a position. So after I, like, of course, a PhD is not easy, but I am thoroughly enjoying the journey because it's learning new skills, kind of navigating, designing experiments, and if you talk about the journey of starting science, I feel like I always wanted to be in science right from when I was a kid. I was interested in how these little toys work. Like, if there was a toy that had a sound coming in it from somewhere or a light coming in it from somewhere, I would be very interested, and I would be immediately like open it and cut it open and see, because I want to know where the sound comes from and where the light comes from. And then I was one of those irritating kids who would like constantly ask, "Oh, where do babies come from?" So of course I have been always been interested in sort of dissecting to understand the underlying mechanism of how things work. And of course, like when I went to senior classes, I was interested in understanding how the most intricate machinery, the human body works, and how genomics works, and it fascinated me. Hence, my job and my interest in transcriptomics, where one single experiment gives you so much information. It's like a puzzle. You get to know information about every single gene of the human body. So yeah, I think it all really comes along together.
Absolutely. Even like working in this research world gives us so much idea about minute details of human bodies and how a single gene can change the trajectory of anyone's life, you know.
That is
It's
so
that
true.
science is amazing. Also, guys, let us know your view that what do you want to learn about science, because we'll be coming from a scientific background, so I think we'll be able to break down everything and give you a very simplified information. So let us know in the comment section what are your questions, what are your curiosities.
Yes, we are very excited to hear back your feedback on the kind of content we create. You can feel free to ask us questions about our journey in the sense, if you relate to us, if you're an international student and if you have any questions, because we have had our shares of struggle and we are really excited to share them. If you want to know about any particular concept, we can make a separate video on that. If you have very specific questions about one niche topic, we can really try and find a scientist who is working at the cutting edge of along those lines, and we can interview them and get them to answer your questions. So we are really looking forward to feedback, and we are really excited to take this channel forward. Please subscribe to our YouTube channel.